Welcome to Let's Make Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Pyle, and I am here to talk about how to kick depression and anxiety and make a great life. That is something I did for myself, so I want to share my story with others in hopes of helping you if that is something that you are struggling with. So today is Friday, so it's super casual, my videos on Fridays. I am going to talk about things that came up during the week or news articles I've read and just share my thoughts basically. So we'll just dive right in. So I cannot remember what I was doing when this came up, unfortunately. I don't know if I was watching a movie or reading an article, but this word came up that I hadn't heard for a while. And I was like, oh, let me look up the definition of that word because I can't remember exactly what it means. And anyway, I just thought it was super interesting. I'll tell you why here. But first, let me just cut over to the word. So capricious was the word. And so I wanted to know like the exact definition. So I pulled it up. So capricious describes someone or something prone to sudden, unexpected changes in mood, behavior, or condition. It implies impulsiveness, unpredictability, and erratic decision making, often without a clear reason. Common synonyms, they're actually listed over here too. So whimsical, fickle, inconstant, unpredictable, erratic, impulsive, volatile. I like this too. Usage examples: Sean has a capricious nature and is unreliable. Um, anyway, I just really like this definition because, and I don't know if you've ever found yourself trying to diagnose yourself online by taking various quizzes, like what specifically is wrong with me? You know, do I have a personality disorder? Do I have this? Do I have that? And I think especially I had read a couple things recently, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but she came out and she was like, yeah, I have borderline personality disorder. And she kind of described it. And when you hear these descriptions, you're like, well, that could be like anybody. And I just like reminding myself, and maybe you need to hear this out there, and this is why the word capricious exists, that just because you might be impulsive, unpredictable, erratic, whimsical, impulsive, unpredictable, does not mean you have a psychological disorder. And I think that's important because I think it's really easy to forget because there is so much information out there now about mental health, which is amazing. Like there used to be like almost nothing except like some books, at the bookstore. I do think there's a danger in that you can start to think when you read some of these descriptions or hear other people tell their story, you're like, oh, is that me? Like, do I have this, that, and the other? Obviously, you should never try to diagnose yourself online, but I know that if you're like me, you probably try, even though you're not supposed to. And obviously you want to go see professionals and talk to them. Like if you do have concerns that you might have something else going on other than just depression and anxiety, I would also caution you because maybe get more than one opinion, and definitely you should not get that diagnosis in just one visit, right? That's a red flag. And just as a reminder, there's a whole word that exists because it is such a common personality trait, if you want to call it that, I guess, that you can be someone who's prone to sudden, unexpected changes in mood, behavior, or condition, and you're just capricious, right? And you see this in literature. Forever we've seen this, historical figures, right? It's not always you have a psychological or personality disorder. And I just thought that was important because I think when we're pursuing like improving our mental health, I do think sometimes and I've talked about this before, I'm pretty sure, we think there's this like perfect way of existing. And there's just not. Like, we are very complex individuals. Our personalities are complex. The way we interact with the world, in relationships, with ourselves, how we feel day to day, seasons we go through, life transitions that we go through, right? Like there's just a lot. And I just think it's super important to remember that you can be capricious and not have a personality disorder or a psychological disorder. I do just think that's really, really important because I think there's a lot of information out there that could be confusing and lead you to worry or think, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. And again, always consult with the professionals, but also just learning new skills and things that I will be talking about and have talked about or will be talking about more in depth. You know, I've learned so many new skills that I can tell just in my own interactions with people, like how much better I am and more calm and sort of able to temper some of those, outbursts or whatever, without, yeah, just you can learn skills to help you be perhaps less capricious if that's something that's important to you, right? Like some people don't care. Like you are allowed to be different, right? You are allowed to be unpredictable and erratic. We all come with a different personality traits. Anyway, I don't need to belabor the point, but I just think it's important that we don't automatically jump to like the worst, or not the worst, but the most extreme example, right? You could just be capricious. So that was something I thought was important and interesting. Okay, so now I have a couple news articles that I've read that I want to just briefly talk about. So let me jump over to those, and forgive me, I'm still learning this tech stuff, so just give me a second here. So this was an article that I read that I thought was great. Of course, that's why I'm talking about it. First of all, I love this picture, right? This is so striking. But let me scroll up here to the title. So this is in the Associated Press. You aren't the only one who just sits in the car before or after a long day. And I love this because I was like, oh my gosh, like I have sat in the car so many times after a work day. Yeah, sometimes just like, oh my God, what is my life? Other times listening to music, right? There's lots of different, ways we might be sitting in our car. But anyway, I love articles that just remind us we're normal human beings. So have you ever pulled in the driveway of your home or parking lot spot and just stayed there? Maybe it's a few minutes or a half hour. You might be on your phone, listening, belting out a favorite song, or just staring into the distance. Scroll through TikTok and you'll find videos of people wondering aloud why they're doing the same thing, just sitting in their car. The behavior is so common, it's become its own kind of ritual, one people are increasingly recognizing and sharing online. It turns out science has a few ideas for why people do this, whether in a car, on a sidewalk, or just outside a door. That temporary pause can act as a buffer between one part of the day and the next. So, right, they're just saying this is completely normal. While there isn't an extensive body of research to back it up, experts say this can be good for you if you keep a few things in mind. A lot of times we're just going 100 miles an hour, said Jenny Tates, a clinical psychologist who runs her own practice in Beverly Hills. But if we can literally stop, like slow down, take a step back, observe, proceed mindfully, maybe like a few minutes to reset between activities, it kind of gives you an ability to be intentional. Brief moments alone can help reset emotions when moving from one thing to another, like leaving work stress behind before coming home. By taking a brief little break, you can at least take a moment to relax and prepare before moving forward. Vaccaro sits in his parked car for a few minutes after arriving home from work, turning up the speakers to listen to just one more song. People seek out these breaks to process, recalibrate, and shake off the gloom. And doing it in a car makes sense because it's an in-between space, of course. The car is an environment people can have total control over, from the temperature to the music. Scientists say taking brief moments to decompress during the workday and after can improve mood, sharpen focus, and boost energy levels. When it comes to breaks in the car, though, whether that pause helps or hurts depends on how the time is spent. If you're in your car scrolling and thinking about something that's upsetting to you or ruminating or in your head spiraling, this is not a reset. It's a stressor, right? That's an excellent point. Yada, yada, yada. If sitting in a parked car has become a habit, be mindful of how you're spending the time, slow down your breathing, find a good song to listen to. But basically, you want to help yourself calm down. Some more about blood pressure. Think of it as a pause, not an escape. There's a difference between a helpful reset and avoidance. It's really about why you're doing it and whether it's interfering with other aspects of your life. This is a lot of things, right? It's kind of like, let me jump back here to the screen. Healthy thing, it kind of depends on like how we use the thing, right? Because I've done both, right? After work, when I was in a bad place, I've sat in the car and like had a panic attack and like freaked out. Like I have nothing to look forward to. Like I just had a work day that was terrible and I have no place to go that feels good, no one to see that feels good. And like that obviously is not a positive, right? So if you are using your car to like reset, it is important, like put on a song that is going to help you feel better and just allow yourself to breathe and decompress. I do think it's really interesting. So like one of the reasons this jumped out to me too is we do like race, or some of us, I shouldn't say everybody, but some of us, we like race through our workday. It's like I'm trying to just get to the end of it. And so of course at the end of that workday, like you're all like anxious and your adrenaline is going. And it's been interesting now living in another country, right, where they do things completely differently. They stop for lunch, like everyone stops working, and for like an hour to 2 hours, you just eat lunch with like other people and you're relaxed and you're enjoying the time together. And it's been so interesting to observe because I'm like, I mean, once in a while I would do that, but like that was not the common every day. Here it's like, no, every day that's what they're doing. And I just think the cultural difference is very interesting. How the workday is not necessarily seen as something you're trying to get through and get past and get to the end of. It's like you're part of your life and you work and then, okay, now we need a break and we need to like not talk about work and we need to enjoy, the day and enjoy our lunch and then have our coffee. And I just find it sort of interesting. Like, I wonder if Italian people need that like break in your car at the end of your workday because they're allowing themselves for their workday to be just a part of their life. And there's a flow and there's pauses within the workday where you actually step away from work. I just find it sort of interesting. I was definitely like a sort of unhealthy American worker. Like I just was plowing through the day as fast as humanly possible to get to the end. And so no wonder at the end of that day, I had all this like built up, anxiety and adrenaline. And I am sort of curious if I had taken a different approach. So that might be something you want to think about. I don't know where you're at in your work life, but if that's even like a possibility. But I do just find it interesting, the difference. And I wonder if we would all need to be sitting in our car so much at the end of the workday if we were making the workday more like a functioning part of our life. And I remember when I was in my, my early 20s, and there was a woman that I worked with who was probably in her early 50s. And I think she could see me, like I was so like work obsessed and like consumed with it, right? Like if I took lunch with a coworker, say we were talking about work the whole time, right? Just really kind of, no ability to like step away and like think about just like who I am in my life outside of like the work role when I was at work. And she tried to give me advice that of course I didn't take, and I wish I had. That like you do have to have balance. And that is something that's been nice living here in Italy, is seeing it like firsthand. So when you're surrounded by it, like at first I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, stop closing stores over the lunch hour. But when you are, now that I'm, a couple years in, I can see the value in like, if you want to, we treat anxiety like in moments, which we absolutely need to do, right? We have these acute sort of anxious moments, but really looking at like our overall, like how we move through like our life might actually be more beneficial to our anxiety. So looking at, our mornings before work and then our work day and what can we do within that work day, and then the evening, and just like overall, like how can we create a less anxious like way of existing. I wish that is something I had done and I might have been a happier worker. But yeah, so that was kind of, this story brought up some of those thoughts. So I just wanted to share those with you guys. But yeah, sitting in your car after your work day, totally normal, but like, check what are you specifically doing? Like for me, if I was like just letting myself ruminate or like become more anxious, like that, you don't want to do that. So you want to look at what you're doing and how you can reset in a better way. I also feel like I read something, and I couldn't find this because this was a while ago, about a virtual reality like headset. And I swear this article was about, someone was saying like for people when their workday is over and they need to decompress, they were using these virtual reality headsets of like nature scenes or whatever, or like say you live in the mountains, this scene could be the ocean or something just very different, to like basically just make that break from like work to home life and like relax you. And I thought that was super interesting too. I was like, oh no, now we need virtual reality to like calm ourselves down because our jobs are so stressful. But all this stuff is super interesting. Like we're just trying to figure out, right, like how to live less anxiety filled lives. And I think we have more control over it than we realize, right? Because it's not like every Italian like has the perfect job or whatever, but they've figured out how to make a day that has a rhythm, right? And like has moments of decompressing within the day. And I just think that's really interesting. So anyway, okay, let me go to the next article. Let's see here. This is Generation Lonely. So I have talked about community before. This is more about just like, help, I need some friends, which if you've ever been in a life transition, this is like a very real thing, right? So maybe you're leaving school or you're changing jobs or you move to a new city. Like it's just hard to like meet people. And so I really love this story. This is from the BBC. I also think this picture is great because I'm like, is this the 90s? But it says it's 2025. So their statistics are for England, I'm guessing, or the UK. So this Circle Up. So Circle Up aims to help young people meet friends in real life in order to combat the social isolation often felt by those living in cities. It runs weekly in-person events across several UK cities, including yada yada. Young people are so cut off and isolated now, said 30-year-old George Webster. He joined Circle Up after losing touch with long-distance friends from university. He said it takes a huge amount of courage to get out and meet new people. That is so, so, so true. So, Circle Up launched in January 2025 after its founder struggled to build a social life in a new city. I thought this is so great, right? Just an app to help people connect and meet up and make new friends, or at least have something to do. You still have to put the work in, but it gives you the environment where it's safe to do so. I'm a social person, but even I wouldn't approach someone out of the blue. And structured events offered a way around the awkwardness many people feel initiating conversations with strangers. So yeah, I just thought this was great because it seems so obvious. Like we need this, we need more of this, like organizations helping us socialize. I cannot stress this enough. I just am like, yeah, we need more, more, more. There cannot be enough of this. Having a structured event that's organized by someone else that you can just join and go to, and you know when you show up, you're with other people who are also wanting to socialize, right? That just takes the stress out of so much of what it is to meet people and make friends and make a new life, whether you're in a new city or you're transitioning out of school, maybe you've changed jobs. I mean, it's just so normal to have these moments where you're suddenly like, I have no one to hang out with. And that's a really scary place to be in. And it can like compound depression, it can cause depression. So I just love whenever I read these stories about people who are like, let's fix this problem because we can do this. We're human beings, like we know how to, we want to interact with one another, right? But I'm an introvert and I have social anxiety and I am a little more shy, but even I want to interact with people. So like I know that everybody else does too. So anyway, I thought that was just interesting and I liked that story. Some inspiration. So then I have just one more story. So let me jump back here. This is also the BBC. I guess I was reading a lot of BBC this week. So I think yeah, what I want to hit on is at the end, but let me just go to the top to give you some context of what the heck this is about. Okay, so Arlo Parks, I got out of my head and into my body. And this is a musician, I believe. I should probably look that up. I just love like human stories. I don't know every famous person, but so this person is talking about yeah, just like kind of their life and how they use music and the importance of it in their life. How she writes her lyrics. So great, I'll provide a link if you want to read all of this. But here's a great quote. I ended up spending a lot more time dancing and getting out of my head and more into my body. And I do love that. That is really important. Not everything can be solved in our head, right? So then let me just get to the part where I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of good stuff in here though. I'm always the host because I love to cook and I love to DJ. Learning to cook, it transpires, was the second strand of her plan to reclaim some normalcy after the whirlwind of her early 20s. I was like, I want to get good at this because when you're coming down, you need to eat. She laughs. I do a really nice roast chicken. I do think cooking is super important. You guys will hear me talk about that later. Some more about just like how she makes music. So this is cool. A thinker and a planner, Parks immersed herself in research. She bought books about club culture, studied the architecture of communal spaces, downloaded legendary DJ sets. So that's super cool. She's obviously very into what she does. So it's nice to read about passionate people, right? My music has always been a collage. I just take what intrigues me from different genres and different moods and apply them to the stories I want to tell. I also love her story because she's very much herself. And that's inspiring, especially if you're struggling with how to talk about yourself or be yourself or feel like yourself. It's nice to read these stories. Let's see here. When I'm at my most joyful or euphoric, I feel like I've seen heaven for a moment, she says. But this is the part I wanted to get to, but there used to be a thing that happened straight after where I'd think, this moment is going to end, and I wish I could feel that way forever. What I've come to accept is that these moments are fleeting, and that is beautiful in itself. It took me a long time to figure that out. This I struggle with myself, so I really liked this. So let me just read this one more time. Okay, so when I'm at my most joyful or euphoric, I feel like I've seen heaven for a moment. But there used to be a thing that happened straight after where I'd think, this is going to end, this moment is going to end, and I wish I could feel that way forever. What I've come to accept is that these moments are fleeting, and that is beautiful in itself. It took me a long time to figure that out. And this, look at this picture. This is great. Like, she just looks so happy, right? So why I like that is because, and I think also if you've dealt with depression, like when you have those moments where you're out of it and like you have like a good positive experience or something, and like for me, I'm like, oh my God, how do I hold on to this, or how do I replicate it or make sure it keeps happening? And that can be really that can actually create like stress and anxiety and be very defeating. And so I like how she's just like, I needed to just accept that these moments where I feel this good are going, it's fleeting, but that's okay. Like, just enjoy the moment, and something else will come again. I even just experienced this recently. Like, it was a holiday week, so Easter weekend, and Easter is, I didn't even realize how big it was here, because last year I wasn't here for Easter, and so it's like Friday's a holiday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's a holiday, and it's just a big deal. Anyway, on two separate occasions, we got my husband and I got invited over by neighbors. And both experiences, I was like, oh my God, this is so like perfect and fun, and this is exactly what I want to be doing. Like, the conversation was great, the company was great, the wine was great. And I was like, I could tell, I was like, is this ever going to happen again? Right? Like, you get into this, like, yeah, just like fear that these moments are fleeting. And I think it's like, yeah, they are. And like, you don't know when that's going to happen again. And you don't know, right? It's like if you try to recreate like the perfect night, if you have like the perfect night out with friends where like just everything happens in a certain way, and it's like you can't recreate that. And there is some stress in that, especially if you have depression and anxiety. But even if you don't, right? Like, I just know that it's a human thing to, like, when you're having a really positive experience, you want to hold on to it forever or replicate it as many times as possible. And I think it might be a lot more healthy to just enjoy those moments, and then know that there will be other moments, and you don't know what they look like or when they'll happen, but that they will, right? Like, so don't try to like, don't panic, don't freak out. And it was just really cool the way she put it. And especially like hearing someone who's so different from me, right? Like, she's a musician and lives in a different country, and is having all these completely unique experiences from my life, but that I could relate to that. I think I love all these like human moments where it's like, it doesn't matter how different we are, the different lives we're leading, we all are having similar like feelings and experiences and worries, and to take some comfort in that, right? And I love when people just speak with so much confidence about something they struggled with and how they had to let it go. Like, I have to let these euphoric moments be fleeting. That's part of why they are like that special, is because they're not all the time, every day. So anyway, that is, I went on for longer than I thought I was going to for a Friday. It's nighttime here. It won't be when I post, or I don't think it will be when I post the video for you guys, but here in Italy, it's 9:15 p.m. but yeah, I just love sharing like things I'm reading or things I see and like connecting it to just like my story of having overcome depression and anxiety and experiences I've had as a person, and hopes that might you might connect with it somehow, because I just think one of the things is it's so isolating when you are having depression and anxiety, and I really want to find ways to just be like, it's okay. We're in this together. Like, I've been there. I totally get it. And here are these other stories of people and experiences that people are having, and just we're not alone. We might physically be alone in a moment, but like overall, we are connected, and our human experiences connect us. So yeah, so that's my Friday video. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you on Monday. And in the meantime, you can go to letsmakecake.org for more information. Okay, thanks guys, bye.